This is Hot Stuff by Donna Summer. Just thought a little jokey song for a couple of reasons. One, it's hot out here in Maryland on Memorial Day weekend. Second, this song was used in one of the best movies of the 1990s, The Full Monty. Come at me, bro, if you don't believe me. Great flick. It is about male stripping, but it wasn't Magic Mike style male stripping. It was normal British guys who were trying to make a little extra money on the side decide to do a striptease show and make some money off of that, but they have to learn how to do it, and that's the music they used for getting themselves pumped up for it. And one of the funniest scenes of the film, they're all unemployed, so they're on the dole, which is their unemployment line, and the music, that song comes on, Donna Summer's Hot Stuff comes on, and they start, practicing their moves in line at the dole, which is kind of funny. And on top of that, also, since it is a stripper song type of thing, I figured I was threatening to be topless today because it is that hot here because my air conditioning doesn't work. I've survived this before. I lived with my mom. We didn't have central air at all. We had a couple rooms had air conditioning, and that was it. The kids' rooms didn't. We had fans, and that was the best we had. So I survived worse. And we're going to get the air conditioner looked at. Worst case scenario, we'll have to buy a new one. It's going to cost a little extra money, but hey, it's all right. This is a shirt that when I co-host Jerry Fletcher got me for my 100th episode. Dylan knows technical difficulties because back when we had the old computer, it was constant technical difficulties almost every week, so she brought me the shirt. So I hadn't worn it in a while. I figured, pull it out for now because all my other t-shirts are black or dark colored, and that just sucks up the heat and just makes it even worse. If I get a little hot, I might take it off. But for those who are interested in maybe seeing me topless, woo! There we go. That's all I'm going to do for you. Or you can go back and check. There's been 2 or 3 other episodes that Dylan knows where I actually did it topless. One was my review with Mike Belinsky of Showgirls, and also one where Larissa and I were doing some nude stuff. So that was kind of cool. So what do we got today? Well, last week was the return of MJ Con, so I didn't get a chance to do our weekly roundup of stuff, which is absolutely fine because I'd rather prefer to talk to MJ. It was great to see him. I hadn't seen him in a while. He seems to be doing very well with his book series. If you don't know about it, just go to Amazon, type in MJ Con, CAAN, and it'll take you to his page where you can pick up all of his books. Only on the Kindle, though. They're not available in hardcover or anything like that yet, which is how I read it. So I'll have to either wait for that or I'll just break down and buy Kindle sometime, maybe for my birthday next month. We'll see. So, got a lot to talk about today. I had a bunch of comic stuff here, but I think I'm going to skip these. Yeah, so I've got some stuff from last week just to bring up real quick. I might not be able to. Oh, okay, I know what that is. And then a whole other page of stuff that I got for this week. So we got a lot of stuff to cover this week. First and foremost, it is Memorial Day, and I cannot let this show go by without letting everybody out there know that I'm not the type of person who sees this as a 3-day weekend. That's just a bonus. I still have 2 more days off from work because it's been a rough couple months at work. But the main reason why we're doing this is to remember all the soldiers we have lost in wars. It's not tributes to all soldiers. I think that's, what is that, Veterans Day? I think that's Veterans Day. Memorial Day is mostly for a celebration of all the soldiers, male, female, black, white, red, whatever, who lost their lives for America in our various wars and stuff like that. So we need to, again, think about the real meaning of Memorial Day. And while it is nice, again, that it's a 3-day weekend, and it also ushers in the beginning of summer with pools being open and stuff like that, we have to remember that there are family members who, not family members, but families who do not have loved ones with them because they lost them in wars, or grew up without a father or a mother or a grandfather or a grandmother, and so on and so forth, or a brother or sister or anything like that. So To them, we offer our salute to them. I will do a quick moment of silence for those we lost, so please, bear with me. Thank you. So, on this occasion of Memorial Day, I might step back into the world of politics again because there have been a few things that have just infuriated me this week. That the dotard president and his cronies called the GOP, and let's be honest, the majority of the GOP are the ones who are behind all this. The president is just an idiot, and the GOP, who could have done something to stop all this and taken care of it, have decided not to because he's pushing their agenda. They don't give a rat's ass about anybody except themselves. And I'm not just saying that because I'm because I'm a Democrat or liberal, whatever you want to call me. But if you look at the facts, it's really not that great. Even these people who claim that we're all dotards and we're idiots and snowflakes and stuff like that, libertards, whatever you want to call us, because we don't know what's going on. You're the ones who really don't know what's going on, and you need to go get educated. But we'll get into that a little later. I'm not ready to do that right now. So let's do some fun stuff. So let's cover, there's going to be a lot of sex stuff. Holy God. Oh, wait, no, that's just one big one. But there's a couple sex things on here. And then some other stuff as well. We got some interesting things going on. So first up, let's just start. This is the beginning of last week. So this stuff covers what happened last week. I will cover this comic book thing, so I think this is kind of cool. Michael Keaton, who plays the original Batman in 1989 and 1992. Batman and Batman Returns, both Tim Burton movies, is fairly iconic as Batman now. And he was doing a speech at Kent State and for commencement, and at the very end he stopped and said, "I'm Batman," which is really cool. So that got the crowd excited for that, and pretty interesting. Michael Keaton is also rumored, I'm going to get ahead of myself here, Michael Keaton is also rumored to make a reappearance in the Spider-Man sequel coming out soon, and Jake Gyllenhaal is being tapped to play Mysterio. I've never been a real big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I love Mysterio, and I'm worried about this casting, but we'll see. I don't know. I just don't think Gyllenhaal can do it, but that's just me. Anyway, cover that off. So first up, we have the royal wedding from a couple weeks ago. I'm just going to touch on this real briefly. I don't mind the royal wedding. In fact, it was nice to read all the stuff last Saturday about it on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, to see that there is actually some love and light in this crappy world that we're living in right now. And it doesn't matter, about the pomp and circumstance. And we're not British and so on and so forth, but it's a lot of fun just to see two people in love professing their love in front of, in this case, millions of people, just because so happens that one of them happens to be the son of the grandson of the Queen of England. So there's that. So good on that. You guys were cute. Some interesting stuff going on there. And apparently from all takes that I read on social media, it was a crazy shindig. So good on you guys. Twin Peaks. You all know my obsession with Twin Peaks. Well, last Sunday would have been 1 year ago. The show aired. The new season aired after a 25 year hiatus. We finally got new Twin Peaks. We got 18 episodes that lasted through Labor Day. And in the end, I still need to do my review of that. It's been over a year, and I really need to get that. I just haven't gotten around to doing it because it is, in all accounts, it is a fascinating show, but it's also extraordinarily frustrating, the way it played out. And looking back on it now, a year later, I found myself still in shock and awe from actually having new Twin Peaks for the first time in 25 years. So I put a lot of stuff aside, and also knowing how David Lynch works. But this whole year thinking about stuff, reading stuff like that, it makes me go, I wish they would have done a little bit more. But that's just, the fan in me. So we'll see like that. Also, last week, we're doing a little bit of a weather-related thing. Before we got this heat and humidity and disgusting stuff, Maryland was being drenched for a full week with rain. And those who know me know that I love the rain. I've mentioned it a billion times on this show, and I'm going to keep mentioning it. I think I belong in the Pacific Northwest where it rains all the time because I like the rain. I enjoy the rain. I like listening to the rain. I like how the rain cools everything off. We got a little bit of spits out there now, but it's not cooling anything off, and we're not supposed to get a lot of rain until tomorrow. But even then, temperature's going to still stay in around the mid to upper 70s, which is not right when you don't have air conditioning. And I'm just sweating like a pig right now because this humidity is disgusting. But unlike a lot of people who are saying, enough with the rain, I was like, no, bring it on. I keep bringing it on, and I hope you keep bringing it on. So I keep on seeing it. So here's some more rain. Last Saturday, my kids have been doing something called Drama Kids, which is a after-school drama club. I was a huge drama person, and I love the fact that they were interested in it as well. Their final class is a performance that they did in front of their parents and loved ones, which was last Saturday, which was also Community Day in Pokemon Go, which we'll talk about in a second. And on all intents and purposes, is exactly what you expected of a bunch of young kids. Their first time being on stage, you couldn't hear a lot of the stuff they were saying, and the story was a little silly. But in the end, it was fun to see my kids up there and acting and doing stuff, and seeing the fact that my son apparently had memorized everybody else's lines and was helping them learn their lines. For those kids who forgot them, he would tell them what their lines were or give them the first few lines of it to get them to remember the lines. So I find that fascinating. Plus, I posted a picture, which I love. They all got, sorry, it's a little hot. They all got trophies. And I pictured this great picture of my son just holding a trophy up in the air like he just won an Oscar. It was hilarious. So good job on them. They both want to do it again next year. Okay, Memorial Day tweets, or not tweets, texts. So they want to do it again next year, so good on that. Community Day was last Saturday also. For those who don't know, I'm a Pokemon Go player. Community Day is something that they do every month, where they, for a 3-hour period, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, they release a abundance of one specific Pokemon, and they also say if you can evolve it to its final form, the final form will get a special move set that you can only get in that 3-hour period and never get it again. And also the fact that there might be shinies out there. For those who don't know, shinies are just different colored iterations of Pokemon Go characters. They don't have any special powers. They look different. That's it. And so it's an added bonus and incentive to go catch everything. They're in the middle of their adventure week this week, so a lot more rock ground types are out there. So there's Ammonites and Geodudes and Kabutos and stuff like that, and they have shinies as well. My wife got a shiny Kabuto. I got a shiny Ammonite today. So it's all good. It's all good. Man, I'm getting. If I can survive this much longer, this is getting steamed and down here, and even in the cold. So we discovered that it was fun. Normally we spend the whole 3-hour period with our family. My wife's sister and her 2 kids, they play it as well. So we go to different parks and different areas and just walk around for 3 hours and do gyms and battle things and catch stuff and evolve things. However, this time, because the kids' drama show was during the same time as the beginning of Community Day, we missed about the first hour and a half of it. So we only did about half of it. So we just stayed in our area and just drove around because it was raining again. Now, we've had 5 Community Days so far. And the first one was in January, which is Pikachu. It was absolutely gorgeous. For January, it was gorgeous weather. It was like 60s, 70 degrees, sunny, gorgeous. February was Dratini. We did that downtown, and that was a rainy, cold, dreary day. March, we did March was where did we do it in March? I'm trying to remember. Oh, Main Street. Yeah, Westminster Main Street, which was Bulbasaur. And that was snowing, actually. We got a little bit of snow on that day, and it was cold, really brutally cold that day. Last month was Mareep, which is an electric sheep. We did that at Columbia Mall because it was pouring down rain all day. And then this past Saturday, it was raining all day in Reisterstown for Charmander. And so we drove around, and we were able to all get our shinies and stuff, do what we needed to do. So it was fun. Next month is June 16th, and it's Larvitar, which is a good character, which we want to. It evolves to Tyranitar, which is one of the best Pokemon out there. However, I will not be participating because me and my mom will be going to an event that my sister's family, my sister's in-laws are throwing. My wife, however, has to stay home with the kids because kids aren't invited. My wife is going to stay home with the kids, and they're going to she's going to take the kids out with her sister and their kids someplace to do community day. My wife has 2 phones she can use, so she will have she has my account info, so she will get one of our nephews to run my account and catch the stuff for me. So that'll be good on that end. So should be interesting. Deadpool 2 came out this week, or last week, I should say. And at Walmart, he took over covers of iconic videos, like DVDs. You want to get a DVD of like The Godfather, and it was actually Deadpool dressed up like The Godfather. And there were actual movies you could buy that had Deadpool on the cover. So I just thought that was kind of creative and clever on that end. Murphy Brown, the newest thing that's been going around in the world now is reboots of old TV shows that had long runs, and were popular back in the 90s or early 2000s or whatever. And then they got canceled, and then about 5-10 years later, they get rebooted again, and they do really well because of the nostalgia factor for about a season or two, and then they start going downhill again. It's worked with X-Files and Will and Grace and Roseanne and Gilmore Girls and Full House. They've been doing, and these are all the ones that are doing it. Well, Murphy Brown has decided it's time to come back and do a reboot of that show, which is the absolute perfect time for them to come back. I was a fan of Murphy Brown. I liked Murphy Brown. It was out in the early 90s during the end of the Bush, Dan Quayle era, and then into the Clinton era. And I enjoyed the show a lot. And then it went off the air for a while, and now they're coming back to take on the president now because the Murphy Brown crew are very liberal. And it's going to be the antidote to Roseanne, who is very conservative and Trumpian. So it'll be a different side of it. And I saw like the trailer for the new Murphy Brown reboot, and I'm like, you know what? I wasn't going to watch it, but now I kind of want to. And not just because they're taking on Trump, but it was good to see all the characters again and see where they are and see what's going to be going. And actually kind of interested to see, hey, what's going to happen? So kind of good on that end. Oh, did a weasel getting into the Large Hadron Collider in April 2016 shift our universe into an alternate reality? Now, that was an actual story. It wasn't an Onion story or anything like that. A weasel apparently got into where the Hadron Collider is, which is some sort of way to look at cells and stuff like that easily and build it up. And there's all kind of stuff like that. It could be opening portals to other dimensions and stuff like that. They think that a weasel getting into it pushed us into this alternate reality where it is literally hell with all the shit that's going on in the government right now. So it's an interesting take on things and a unique news story. Do I truly believe it? No, not really. But it's still kind of funny, and I just wanted to bring it up. 24-karat gold chicken wings worth $1,000. Yeah, it's chicken wings coated in gold that you can eat. You just have to pay $1,000 to eat it. And it's like, why would you want to do that anyway? It's gold. Does it make you feel hoity-toity that you're eating chicken wings that are dipped in gold? Does it make it taste any different? I don't think it does. So seems like a waste of money to me, but what do I know? I caught a trailer last week, which I wasn't expecting. It's a Red Band trailer, and it made me think of Team America. The Happy Time Murders, which actually this week is actually getting sued by Sesame Street right now. But the Happy Time Murders is basically an adult Muppet movie, but without any of the Muppets, without Kermit and Miss Piggy and all that. It stars Melissa McCarthy, and she is a police officer whose partner is a Muppet, and Muppets are like real people, and it's a lot like Bright, that movie Will Smith with all kinds of fantasy creatures living in harmony with humans. Well, this way it's Muppets living in harmony with humans, but this time it's more grown-up adults, so Muppets are having sex with real humans and stuff like that, and there are Muppet prostitutes and so on and so forth, and this video shows all that. It shows Muppet prostitutes, it shows Muppet drug taking, it shows Muppets ejaculating, it shows Muppets having sex. So this is one of those really whack, bizarre type of films like Team America, which could be extraordinarily funny, but could also fall extraordinarily flat on its face. But to me, it looks, it just looks like it's a shock value type of movie. But at the same time, it is taking a cliche of the new partner police officer roles, investigating murders, how they're not getting along and how they end up working together to get along, type of thing, and giving a little bit of a tweak. But yeah, seeing Muppet sex and Muppet ejaculations is, it's and Muppet drug taking, it's interesting, but I don't know. I'll have to see if I'm in the right mindset for it. Stephen Hawking's memorial may have time travelers in attendance. That, again, is not an Onion article. Stephen Hawking believed that time travel, I believe, was possible in some form or another, or he is setting up the possible formulas that could create time travel. And so someone said, well, you know what? A lot of time travelers might decide to, they wouldn't have been able to time travel without Stephen Hawking, and they know when he dies, so they'll travel back in time and attend his funeral. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's always interesting to see these time travel stories that pop up every once in a while. There was one with a modern-day kid who was at the Gettysburg Address and was photographed there, and then there was the guy on the bridge in San Francisco, I think, back in the 1900s or something like that, and he's dressed more modern than people expecting. Or another one is one of Mike Tyson's fights from the 90s where he was unbeatable. There's a picture that people saw closer that looked like somebody was holding up an iPhone filming it, and there was no cameras really like this at that time. So who knows? Time travel stories are always interesting. So we'll see. Wine kegs are a thing. God. Yes, it's all family stuff. Yes, happy Memorial Day, everybody. Yeah, I'm trying to do a show here. I should probably tell them, hey, I'm trying to do a show. Shut up. No, I love my family, but it's funny. Maybe I'll just turn this down a little bit because we'd listened to some hot stuff there earlier. Let me see. Do I still have it up? No, I don't. Okay. So let's our ringers. It is the ringer. Let's put the ringer down a little bit so it doesn't interfere with my show as much anymore. Wine kegs are a thing. To me, it's just like it's about freaking time. Kegs can hold a lot of alcohol, so why not have ones with wine in it? Beer kegs seem to work pretty well. Why not have wine kegs? It works the same general principle. And, older people like wine instead of beer. So, why not? It's not a bad idea. I don't mind it. The movie. Okay. Also last week for me personally was a crappy commuting week. One morning, it took an hour and 45 minutes to get to work due to a car accident way down 695, which is the road I take, which was blocking like 2 lanes of traffic. And even though it cleared up while I was still on the road, the backup, the bottleneck still continues till you get past it. So that was a problem. And so the next day, it was an hour and 45-minute commute home. And the problem with that one was something that's never happened to me before. I have never been until last week in a traffic jam where they literally closed the highway and we had to wait till they reopened it. And that's what happened last week. There was a bad accident right by my exit to 795 where actually somebody died in that. And so they had to have EMTs and police and do all that, do a quick investigation and move it. They had blocked the entire highway, not just the exit to 795, but all of 695 because they had all the emergency equipment and all the stuff doing an investigation, had to move things over, and cars couldn't get through. So we had to wait for a while, and it was interesting, and it was a shame that somebody passed away in that because I always hate when people die in car accidents that could have probably been avoided. But it's horrible, and I hope it never happens to me. Destination Wedding is a new movie which reteams Winona Ryder, who's making a triumphant return in movies. She really hasn't done a movie in a while. She's been mostly on television with Stranger Things. And Keanu Reeves, who's always fun to watch, in a romantic comedy. Now, again, the movie's called Destination Wedding. I saw the trailer last week. It's very similar to every other romantic comedy movie you've ever seen before. And again, if you know me, that's one of my it's one of the things I really, really enjoy is romantic comedies. I always like them. I don't know. I like the simplicity of them. I like the happy endings, whatever. Sometimes the literal happy endings, huh? Anyway, and I keep saying and I'm going to keep saying because I just can't help it. It's the way I talk. So deal with it for those who are like, you say too much. Anyway, this movie looks like every other romantic comedy, but again, when you get Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder making a triumphant return in the movies in a lead role, it's always going to be fun to see. That basic premise appears to be they're a couple that meet cute at an airport, which means they can't stand each other. Like they have character defects, like Keanu takes up too much room on the sofa and Winona Ryder talks too much, something like that. And they end up, of course, sitting next to each other on the flight. Of course they do. It's almost like fate's trying to get them together. And then they get to the wedding and they end up being at the same table at the reception. And we also discover that at one time Winona Ryder, I think, was in love with or may still be in love with the groom. So she's having a hard time accepting that. And so Keanu sort of becomes her sounding board or whatever. And you can tell he's not digging it that much and is getting kind of annoyed with her. But then something happens. This is Destination Wedding. It's at a vineyard. They end up getting lost somehow. This is just from what I saw in the trailer. There could be a lot more to it than that. But there could be, they end up getting lost in the wineries and the woods and stuff like that. And they run into all kinds of stuff, and comedy stuff entails. And there's a scene of them in bed together. And Winona's like, I'm not wearing anything under these pajamas. And Keanu's like, yeah, it would be uncomfortable if you were, or something like that. So, we'll see what happens. But again, it looks like just every other romantic comedy. But again, the fact that Winona Ryder, who hasn't done a big screen movie in a long time, is reteaming with Keanu Reeves. The two of them did Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula back in the 90s, which has a personal, I'm just remembering right now, memory for me with an old girlfriend from college. Anyway, so there's that. We're going to end this week's... Oh no, there's one more thing here. We'll end. Yes, we will. We have one big story to talk, and then we'll talk about the smaller story real quick. Well, I'll do the smaller story first, and then we'll do the big story. No, actually, there it is. Hold on. Ban on. Oh, okay. There is more stuff. Never mind. Ignore me. So we'll get into the. Let's see what time it is. Yeah, we may as well. No one's watching anyway, and it doesn't matter. And by the time you see this on replay, it could be any time. The first ever erotic theme park is opening in São Paulo, Brazil. It has what the fuck did I write there? Food, aphrodisiac foods that they will offer at the theme park, sex-themed rides, sex shops, nude swimming, but engaging in sexual activity of any kind, meaning oral or physical or anything like that, you cannot do it on the park's grounds. You got to, if this is supposed to build you guys up, and then you go to your apartment and you go and you have sex and do all the sex stuff, but at your apartment. You do not do it on the grounds of the park. That's one of the rules, despite the fact that they have all this stuff, aphrodisiac foods, which makes you horny, or rides that are erotic in nature, like the Tunnel of Sex or something like that. They have a sex museum you can go into. It's $100 to get into the park to do this stuff. So, but that that doesn't include flying to Brazil, getting to the hotel, and then going to the park. And then it doesn't include your food either, and nude swimming and sex shops and stuff like that. So it's a way to get you geared up, but you cannot have sex on the premises. I mean, in an erotic themed park, I guess that's okay. I guess you don't want to have sex out in the open because that's just not right, and it's something you need to do behind closed doors. It's just the way it is. But if you're interested in a sex themed park, there is one now. A family discovers that their pet dog is a bear. They didn't realize it was a bear when it was a puppy, but as it started growing up, it started walking on hind legs and getting furrier, bigger claws, bigger nose, stuff like that. And they're like, oh, wait a second, this is a bear. So they had a bear cub. The federal ban on sports betting has been overturned by the Supreme Court, which means sports betting is now going to be legal. States are going to have to ratify it, I guess. So it's only a matter of time before you're going to be able to bet on games at the stadium, or it won't be illegal for you to do sports betting. It wasn't illegal in Vegas. That was the only place you could do legal sports betting. Now you're going to be able to do it everywhere if every city approves it. I guess, even though it's a federal law, I guess it's still up to the individual cities to decide if they want to do it, because they will get a piece of the action, and I think the sports teams will as well. So I don't know. I really have no comment on that. That's going to be something that comes up. That's going to be a few years going before we actually see what actually happens with that. Mysterious sea creature washes up in the Philippines. They believe it is a sign that something is to come. It was some sort of weird looking, not really giant squid thing, but it was just a weird creature they'd never seen before. And they believe that it comes from the depths of the ocean. And they've had, I think, other ones wash up before, which they had never been able to explain, and it preceded a natural event, natural disaster type of thing. Now, if these animals are being pushed up from the deepest parts of the water and are being washed up on shore, does that mean there's a potential for massive earthquakes, which could cause massive tsunamis? Or something else is coming in the water? Maybe there's a giant predator in the water that we don't know about yet that just made its appearance known. Who knows at this point? But it's just a theory right now that it could be the start of something bad for the Philippines. Something might be happening. Weather-related, natural disaster-related might be something might be coming when a creature that no one's ever seen before, because it could have been in the depths of the ocean, is now washing up on shore dead. Anything's possible. Tom Wolfe and Margot Kidder died last week. Tom Wolfe was a writer who wrote The Right Stuff. Margot Kidder, of course, was everybody's original Lois Lane. So that is it for, real quick, I have to do this quick. Disneyland unveils an Infinity Gauntlet cup, which actually is really cool looking. You go to Disneyland, since they own Marvel as well. You go to one of the food stands or whatever, drink stands. You can get a giant Infinity Gauntlet that would be filled with soda or juice or water or whatever, and you put it on your hands, and the straw's right here, and you can sip from the Infinity Gauntlet. I thought it was kind of cool. So talking about that, and there's a whole bunch of other comic book stuff, but we're not going to talk about that. I'll probably come back to that when MJ and I do our show again in a couple weeks. Excuse me. Well, So you thought we were over with, huh? Maybe I should do the second part topless. No, I'm not going to do that. Though it is getting a little steamy again. News crew follows the wrong car in a car chase. You see those all the time. O.J. Simpson's made that is probably the most famous one, where helicopters are flying above a highway in California and there's car chases, you know, and going like 90 miles an hour, and there's like 6, 7 police cars following it, and you just follow it, and sometimes it causes disaster. It weaves in front of other cars and it causes accidents, and then it tries to exit off of the highway to lose them in the neighborhoods, and then they run stoplights and stop signs, and it slows them down because they get into a little bit more heavier traffic, and that's when the police usually able to get them. So it's a usual thing when you see these high-speed chases on the highway. It's like somebody turn on the news every day, there's at least one high-speed chase going on. However, this one news crew, they followed the wrong car. It was a similar car to the one that they had been following, but somewhere around the bend, something like that, they started following the wrong car, and they kept following it till it took the exit, and it was rolling right along. It wasn't moving real fast or whatever, but they were still following it, and it pulls into like a business park or something like this. This guy walks out like drinking a coffee with his briefcase, and he goes into his work. They were following a dude who was going to work, and they missed out on the actual car chase. I think that's kind of funny. And someone messes up about that. It's pretty bad. Yeah, I'll talk about political stuff at the end of the show, because no one ever makes it to the end of the show anyway. Usually there might be some people, but I doubt it. No, octopuses don't come from outer space. Somewhere along the line, somebody thought that maybe octopuses, whatever, came from outer space due to their bizarre physiology and what they do and stuff like that. Scientists are like, no, it didn't happen. So no octopuses from outer space. Does that mean there aren't octopus aliens? There could be octopus aliens, absolutely. But these octopuses that are in our ocean, not aliens. This may be one of the coolest things ever. And it doesn't matter if you don't like Rush or not, but the fact that someone spent probably a good amount of time to do this, because it's about a 30-some minute video, 30 to 40-minute video on YouTube. A guy was able to sync up Rush's entire album, 2112, with Peanuts cartoons, you know, Snoopy and Charlie Brown and all that. There have been tons of Charlie Brown cartoons with them playing musical instruments and doing interesting things and weird things and stuff like that. And there were some historical things that they did, because there used to be a show about history that the Peanuts did. So this guy went and he looked at all the Peanuts cartoons and was able to edit a 30-some minute video that plays the entirety of Rush's 2112 album synced up to Charlie Brown. Let me see if I can find a snippet of it, because I don't get impressed by much. I was impressed by this, and it is insanely. I don't want to disagree with anything, Facebook. You can talk to me later. Let me see if I can find it here. It was Rush. Rish. No, it's not Rish. It's Rush. Rush. 2112 Peanuts. All right, here it is. Let's see if I can get I'm just gonna get to a bit that I just find absolutely hilarious, and it's impressive because they were able to get the mouths of the characters to sync up to the lyrics, so it looks like they're actually singing the song. Come on. And I've never been the biggest Rush fan, but I didn't watch the whole video. I fast forwarded through bits of it. Magnum presents. Magnum must be the guy who did this. Penis Gang singing 2112 by Rush. All right, let me just. it's just phenomenal that he's able to sync up everything and use bits and pieces from different Peanuts movies and TV shows and stuff like that. It's just absolutely stunning and amazing that someone has this creativity, and I have to give them props. So fantastic. If you get a chance, you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just watch a little bit just to see and fast forward through it and see all the different songs. Or if you like Rush, sit down and just play the whole thing and watch the video. It's amazing. So cheers to you, man. You did a fantastic job. You've got a history. You've got quite a career. I was also going to play this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to tell you about it. Will Smith is back rapping, y'all. Will Smith has taken, let's think about it, about a 20-year hiatus. One of his last albums, I think, was before the new century. I don't even know if he's released an album in the new century. And you think about it, it's 2018. 20 years ago is 1998. Yeah, it is. 1998 was 20 years ago. That's how fast this year's going. So Will Smith has been acting, most during that time. But now I think he's gotten the itch again to go back and rap. So he released something on Facebook today called him, which was like titled, getting back into the studio. And let me see if I can find it again. No, I don't want my camera. I'm looking at my camera right now, which is ridiculous. So I don't want to see my camera. I want to go back to Facebook. Come on. There we go. Let's see if I can find. No, and I don't want to go to Messenger either. Geez, I hate the sensitivity of this stupid thing. So let me just see if I can find a Will Smith one, because I was so impressed by this. This is a different take of Will Smith. Will Smith has a distinct rap voice. This one is more contemporary and modern, and he's upped his game to fit in with the current feeling of what it's like to be a rapper nowadays. Here we go.
20 years of swag, y'all just witness. Let me remind everybody who Will Smith is. Rappers make it rain. Let the money hit you. If I throw my money out, shit, I'll probably kill a stripper.
It's only like 30 seconds long. That's my favorite line. And that's his first rap. So that's him. He's going to, it was just him warming up. He's getting back in the studio. He's probably going to release a brand new album sometime soon. Just in the sound of it, as I said, it sounds like he's contemporary. He's recent. He's discovered that the rap that he was known for 20 years ago might not fly in this day and age now, so he had to change it up a little bit, and that's just a sample of it. And I love it. I've liked Will Smith, but I'm not a big rap person anyway, and I liked his stuff, but I've never been like a huge fan of it. I like that stuff, and I was fantastic. So fantastic on that end. Speaking of animation, there's been a bit of a back and forth lately. Cartoon Network is going to release a new Thundercats cartoon this fall, with the animation style looking a lot more like Steven Universe, and to me it doesn't look right. Thundercats is supposed to be more realistic looking, but everybody started freaking out when people were complaining. It's like, well, it's just a kid's cartoon. It's what kids nowadays like to watch. You just started unhappy that they aren't doing it like the way you want to do it. Well, first of all, not every kid likes that animation style. My kids don't like that animation style. And then on top of that, they've changed up the styles for superhero girls also, which is going to devastate my daughter because she doesn't like that style of animation. And they're doing that style of animation also for superhero girls instead of the more cartoony cartoon realism that they were doing originally. And hopefully maybe now she's getting old enough that she doesn't really care about that stuff anymore. But, not every kid is into that style. And that was what what everybody was saying was, the reason why you don't know what you're talking about, because kids today, they love that type of animation style. No, they don't all do. Some like the more realistic version, Yes, just because certain shows that have that animation style are popular doesn't mean it is every kid liking it. If you want every kid to like it, maybe you should find the middle ground somewhere. It looks crappy. I'm not going to watch it. My kids aren't going to watch it. Not that I would have anyway. But they're all like, oh, well, you're a grown-up. Why would you watch it? Or you didn't support the Thundercats thing when they did a new version of it. I don't remember a new version of it. If they did a new version of it, sure, I would probably like it. I don't know. So who knows? That annoyed me. And people that I liked and respected were saying that. I was like, come on, man. Seriously? Can you just get over yourself for a second? Not every kid likes that animation style. It's not like, that is the animation style that everyone in the world likes. Not everybody likes Rick and Morty or Steven Universe, stuff like that. Speaking of cartoons, Matt Groening, creator of The Simpsons and Futurama, is dipping his toe into the Netflix cartoon series as well. He is creating a fantasy cartoon, which actually, looks like it's going to be a cartoon sort of similar to what they did with Futurama. Their cartoon, that Futurama was a kind of a parody of science fiction in the future. It looks like they're going to be doing that sort of style for fantasy, and I think that's really cool. I might even check that out. I think that's interesting. Would be an interesting take on things, and I'd like to check that out. Rita Moreno has said that Marlon Brando was better in bed than Elvis, and I guess she would know. But I guess, I guess it makes sense. I mean, Elvis might be, a great musician and stuff like that. But doesn't necessarily mean he's a great lover, So good on them. I have no desire to watch the Watchmen TV show that's coming up on HBO, even with Damon Lindelof involvement in it. I'm not going to get HBO just to watch it. I liked Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie. I thought they did an excellent job of adapting the book. And the book is great, and everyone considers it to be one of the greatest pieces of comic book, literature of all time. I'm not sure if I agree with that totally. It's a great story, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it's the greatest. I don't even know what the greatest would be. I mean, everybody has a different take on it. But now more words coming out that this Watchmen TV series is really not even going to be about the cartoon, or rather the comic book. It's going to feature the characters, but like in new scenarios and stuff like that has really nothing to do with the movie, which I guess when you're doing a show, you're going to have to do something like that. You can't do a straight up adaptation of Watchmen because it's not that long. Not a lot happens. You could probably get it all done in one season and be done with it. If you wanted to expand a bit more, as I said, I think Zack Snyder did a great job with what he could in the 2.5 hour film that he did. But doing a TV show, expanding to 13 episodes is 13 hours. Even if you spent an hour per episode, that's still one extra hour left behind. And then when they try to do these adaptations, like Under the Dome and stuff like that, or The Strain, where people have grown up with they've read the books that they're based on, and they're like, okay, this could be a good TV show if they follow it. They like the stories. And then all of a sudden they go on these crazy, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. Walking Dead is similar too. We're going to do this. That has nothing to do with adapting what they did. It's because they had to add stuff to increase the runtime of their show. Watchmen is just going to say, the hell with the Watchmen comic book. We're just going to do our own damn thing. So they're going to do their own damn thing. They cast Don Johnson, which is interesting, I guess. Some other cast members, but it's not something I'm dying to watch. And honestly, I don't know if it's going to be all that exciting. I mean, I guess there's a group out there that wants to watch that. I don't know. Marvel is, with their movies, has so taken over the world that nowadays, 10 years ago was when the MCU started proper with Iron Man. In those 10 years, we've seen an increase in the names of babies based on the characters' names in the Avengers. Now, if you think about it, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like someone's naming their kid Vision or Hawkeye, but you're seeing a increase in like the names of like Banner and Clint and Natasha and Steve and Tony and Rhodey, James, whatever you want to call him, Wanda, characters that, Scott, Hank, stuff like that. So names of characters in the comics. It's not like, as I said, it's not like they're calling their kids Scarlet Witch or Black Widow. T'Challa is another one that a lot of people are naming their kids after, and Shuri, stuff like that. So, hey, it's cool when you have something like that. But to be honest, a lot of those names are really not that unusual. T'Challa, maybe. Wakanda, if you're going to name your kid Wakanda, okay, that might be a little crazy. But again, they're not naming their kids Iron Man or Hawkeye, though Hawkeye would be a really cool name for a kid. Wouldn't it? I think so. Oh, well. The Expanse is going to Amazon for season 4. Sci-Fi canceled it after 3 seasons, and the outcry was heard, and Amazon's like, okay, we'll do it. So they officially are going to do a season 4. So fans of The Expanse, hooray, you've succeeded. Much like those with Brooklyn 911 or whatever, not Brooklyn, whatever, I guess whatever that show was that was canceled by Fox, got picked up by ABC or something like that, or NBC or something like that. So they're coming back, and people are trying to get Lucifer back. And the outcry for Lucifer caused Fox to release 2 more episodes that they were originally holding back for whatever reason. So they're going to release those as well, I guess to appease the fans. Not that it's going to wrap up storylines or anything like that. I mean, if they were going to give them 2 additional episodes to wrap up the storyline they were going to do, I guess that would be an okay closure, but they're not doing that. So we'll see. But it's good to see that that's starting to come into effect. More of the people trying to get their TV shows that they like back out there. Speaking of TV shows, this one's coming to an end. I've had an interesting relationship with this one. This is The Americans. The Americans is going to be ending after 6 seasons. Wednesday is their last episode. I saw the ads 6 years ago when the show started, and it went to something front by The Who. Not The Who. Yeah, it was The Who, wasn't it? Eminence Front was like the ad that they were using for the commercial, and it starred Kerry Russell from Felicity. And I always liked Kerry Russell anyway, so she was coming back to TV, and it was about Russian spies spying in America during the Cold War in the 1980s. And it was on FX, so it was going to be a little bit more grown up, more adult. There's more sex, more nudity, more violence, more adult situations, stuff like that. So I watched the first 4 episodes one night. It was like a long weekend or something like that, and they were showing all 4 of them in a row, and me and a bunch of other people, a bunch of the Snark Alex, we sat there and we watched the first 4 episodes straight. So it was like through 3 a.m. or something like that. We were watching them, and they were doing like the whole season. I was like, I can't stay up anymore. But I liked what I saw, and I bought the videos of this seasons, and I just never got into it because it was one of those things that's so dense you had to watch it from the beginning to understand. And then the second season came, and I still read all the Wikipedia description of the episodes, so I kind of know what's going on in the show. And then the third season started. I figured, now's the time. Why don't I just jump right back in? I'll figure out what's going on. I've read the Wikipedia episodes. I know kind of what's going on. So I watched the first episode of the third season, and again, I didn't continue on with it. And then I just said, okay, I'll just read the Wiki episodes. But I do have all of them. I had the first 3 American seasons on DVD. I need to get 4, 5, and 6, but I'm going to get those, and eventually I'll sit down and watch it. But The Americans is coming to an end, and it was a good show. Got some good awards and stuff like that. Florida man kidnaps scientist to make his dog immortal. Florida is going to come into play again. That's not an Onion commercial. He kidnapped a scientist. He wanted to make his dog immortal. I guess when, you love your dog and your dog might be dying and you don't want your dog to die, you go to desperate measures to keep him alive. But to kidnap a scientist to create immortality, which is not something that you can do right now, there's something wrong with you. But, you loved your dog. I understand that. But still, dude, you don't kidnap people for that. You're in prison now. Also in Florida, Florida City sends out a zombie alert over their emergency broadcast network during a power outage. Normally, you know, there's power outage, they would send out like texts and stuff on TV saying, you know, power outage, you know, local energy companies working on it. The power should be on in 20 hours or whatever. They're in this area, in this area. So it's just a way to, you know, just to prepare yourself to make sure that, you know, make sure your doors are locked. You've got plenty of, you know, you're cool enough, stuff like that. And at the same time, when they released this, there was an alert that, you know, watch out for zombie activity as well. Now, I think a lot of it had to do with, I don't think they have an actual zombie alert. I think it was just some guy who wrote the alerts. Let's have some fun with this. Let's see. You watch out for zombies also. Boom, boom, boom. And so they played that. But that's kind of interesting when you have something like that. But it must have freaked somebody out. It was like, zombies? Blackout? Because it could freak you out. It's a blackout. You don't see anything. It's a blackout. Synonymous with the word blackout means there's no light. So you walk out into pure darkness and your mind starts playing tricks on you. And if they put out a zombie alert also, you might be hearing weird things. You're like, oh my God, what is going on? What are zombies? You know, and then the zombie apocalypse is upon you. That's just, it's kind of funny, but it's kind of weird also. Australian Stadium is renaming itself Marvel Stadium after the Marvel Comics, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Disney had bought the rights to name the stadium in Australia, and they're naming it Marvel Stadium. So good on that. A judge decreed that a 30-year-old son must move out of his parents' house. Now, I can sort of resemble that remark, except I got married when I was 30. But after I got out of college, and those people who've watched this show know this as well, after I got out of college, I went back and I lived at home. This was 1995. For that whole summer after college, I did nothing. I watched videos of old TV shows that I recorded from, you know, from college, stuff like that, and just sort of lazed around, didn't do anything, didn't look for a job or anything like that. Then I got a job in September working at a hotel. Lasted 3 days. It was a sucky job. I hurt my wrist, and there was no set hours. It was like, all right, come at this time and stay until you're done. And without a car, I didn't really have any means to get home, particularly at night, because it was in the evening type of stuff that I'd have to do. So then I, again, still living at home, and I started to continue looking for jobs. So that I didn't have a car at home. Eventually, I saw a sign for a bagel shop that was going to be opening in December, or rather, it was going to be opening in January, but they wanted, you know, crew to be in there in December to learn how to do stuff, and it was within walking distance. So I said, okay, why not? I need a job, so I went and I applied for it. I got the job, and I became a worker at a bagel shop. I worked there for 2 years, almost 2 years. But I still lived at home at that time because A, I didn't have a car, and B, the hours, eventually I became a bagel baker. My hours were 3 a.m. till usually 10:30, 11, depending on how busy we were. So I had the afternoons free, but then I had to go to bed at 8 o'clock, and that kind of sucked, particularly during the summer, because, you know, I didn't have air conditioning in my mom's house, which is where I was staying. So I had the windows open and fans going, but there were still people out there mowing their lawns and playing and doing barbecues, stuff like that, while I was trying to sleep. So, you know, you weren't going to close the door or windows because it was going to get hot and stuffy in your room. So I had to go through that. And then I left that job. I worked a seasonal job at Christmas time at the mall also. Working for See's Candy because I was getting tired of the hours because it was ruining my social life. That, in fact, I wasn't seeing anybody. And then I got the job working for the radio station, and then I got the job working at Rainforest Cafe. And that was in 1999. 2000, September 2000 is when I met Dawn, and we started dating. And about 6 months later, Dawn was approached by her roommate, said that they were going to vacate the house. They couldn't afford it anymore, something like that. And Dawn couldn't afford living there by herself because I wasn't living with Dawn at the time, and I was still living at home. So Dawn and I decided, you know, after only 6 months of dating, that we would move in together. So 2001, we ended up getting a place together. So it was the first time. So Dawn sort of forced my hand to move out of my parents' house. If I wouldn't have met Dawn, would I still be living at my parents' house? I absolutely probably would have. I would have hoped maybe if I would have gotten a better job once I got my car. I got a car in 1999. I was able to expand my base a little bit. If I got a better job, made more money, maybe I could get my own apartment if I hadn't met Dawn. But I don't know. Maybe it'd just be easier to stay at my folks' house, my mom's house anyway. She never wanted to kick me out. I lived there basically for almost 6 years after college. So she was fine, and she's told me before it would have been fine for me to stay if we would have never gotten together. If I never would have gotten together with Dawn, but luckily I did, and I was able to, become a grown up, and now I co-own this house with Dawn. So, all things good, things come in. So, would we force our kids out at the age of 30? They're still living with us? I don't think so. We might urge someone because, age 30, that's the time frame. 30 to 40 is the time frame. You could even maybe push to 25 if you wanted to, but 30 to 40 is the time frame where you need to get your life together, where you need to meet somebody, you need to fall in love, you need to get married, you need to have kids or adopt kids if you can't have kids or whatever, or just spend time with someone else and get out of the house. But I know people who don't have that, never had that, and still live at home. And that's fine. Their parents are fine with them, and that's okay. That's what they need to do, and I'm okay with that. Would I be okay with my kids doing that? Absolutely be fine. We got plenty of space. I don't think they'd want to, but, we could always convert this place down here where my studio is into an apartment for them. So who knows? But so I don't know if I would have agreed to try to kick somebody out and then going to a judge and saying, can you get him to move out? And I mean, the fact of the matter is they were offering money and stuff to help sell stuff and help their son get his own place, but he just didn't want to move for whatever reason. I don't know. And so now that story is still ongoing. He's declaring that they were abusive towards him and trying to force him out and threatening him and stuff like that. So we'll see where that all goes. But I don't know if I would ever get to that point where I would be threatening my kids with a lawsuit if they were still living at home, because I lived at home, as I said, for 6 years after college. And while it might not seem like the greatest thing in the world, sometimes you need to have something like that in your life. The Oakland Athletics had a Star Wars themed firework night that caused a fire in Oakland. I mean, not much you can do about that. It wasn't intentionally set. The embers from a firework just happened to hit the right spot. Something caught fire. Boom, you have a fire. It happens. But I just thought it'd be an interesting story to talk about. Tattoos boost your immune system. Okay. I don't have tattoos, I guess, because it's emboldened by fighting off bacteria around the area, because basically your skin getting drilled into, and there's going to be bacteria and problems with it. So your buildup of antiviruses or whatever builds up in there, and maybe that's what makes you better. And if you get more, it increases the number of white blood cells, whatever it is, that'll help you combat these type of things. So I guess it works in the end. Star Wars Land is going to be opening in Disneyland and Disney World next year. And so now there's rumors that a Star Trek Land is now in the work at a different theme park to compete with the Star Wars one. So again, Star Wars and Star Trek are always going to be forever compared with each other. My wife and her sister did a comparison 5 years ago when my wife used to do a show for me during the month, every month. So Sweet Black Currant Pepsi. Currant, I guess, is some sort of grape type of thing, is going to be available only in Japan this summer. Would something like that ever make its way over to America? Probably not. The Japanese tend to prefer these different types of flavored drinks, but the fact is it is a Pepsi product, and the fact that it's a Pepsi product doesn't close the door on anything, because Mountain Dew, besides having their Kickstarter stuff, they also have new lemonade stuff. They've got Mountain Dew, like Black Label, which is like a darker berry Mountain Dew soda. So it's stuff that you don't see all the time, but it's still out there a little bit. Who knows? Comparing to, considering earlier in the show I talked about a strange creature that washed up on the shores of a Philippines island. Well, a mysterious wolf-like creature was killed in Denton, Montana this week. It definitely does not look like a typical wolf. It looks more humanoid-ish look, almost werewolfy, or a new type of wolf of some kind. So people are still trying to investigate that. We don't know if it's a hoax or not, but again, we're starting to see more and more of these mysterious creatures. Again, is this foretelling something that's coming? I mean, the end of the world is still supposed to be happening on June 24th, so maybe this time it's really going to happen. Anyway, it's interesting that you're starting to see more stories about these weird creatures washing up or dying, stuff like that, and they're starting to appear more often, as if there's something building, that something's going to be revealed soon, so we'll find out. Talking about Pokemon Go, Niantic, who created the game, seems to have discovered what's helping keep the game afloat, because for the longest time, every month they would do like a theme week sometime in the month, and that was it. For about a week, you would have this crazy theme type of thing and be really, really cool. People would go out and they do stuff and get things and do things. And then after the event was over, it's like back to normal. You're like, ugh. And you just go and just get your one catch of the day and your one spin of the Pokestop. You're like, I don't feel like doing anything else because I don't need anything else. I got a million of these things. But when you do these special events, getting things you normally get, or a easier way to increase your experience points to get you to the next level, it's fun to do that. So they've been doing more events. Basically, it's been nonstop events. I don't think there's been any time frame where it's just been regular old tile stuff. Even if it might be for a couple days here and there, that there might just be no events going on, but then all of a sudden a new event comes along. Well, this summer, the Alolan Pokemon are coming early. Now, the way they've been releasing their Pokemon in the Pokemon Go is the first Pokemons were Gen 1, which was from the first Pokemon game ever. Then there's a Gen 2, which was the second Pokemon game. They just released Gen 3 last fall. And Gen 4 is probably going to be released sometime this year. So you're still going to get new Pokemon all the time. But they have upwards of 7 generations now, and Alola is the newest generation. It's from the video game Sun and Moon, and the area that it's located on is very similar to Hawaii, so you get a lot of different characters. So it's a bunch of new Pokemon. But then they decided, you know what, let's increase the number of Pokemon in this area by taking Pokemon from Gen 1s and Gen 2s and changing them up a little bit, almost like a shiny, but making them a different character, basically, with different powers and different stuff like that. And it'll get people excited about going out and getting these characters. Good example is Rattata. Rattata, Pokemon 1, is basically, it's a rat. And its evolution is Raticate, which is a giant rat. Now, they're common. You see them every day, multiple times, and they're not that exciting. You're not going to use them in gyms all that much, or urban battles or anything like that. So they're just there to catch and get experience, stuff like that. But now in the Alolan, which is Gen 7, as I said, there is darker colored ones, things like black ones now. And so they have different powers. So now you're going to want to get them. So we were thinking we were going to have to wait. They're doing one generation like every year, basically, or every like 2 a year, something like that. So, you would think we'd have to wait between 7 and 14 years before we actually get these Sun and Moon Pokemon. Well, they're going to be releasing just the Gen 1 variations of Alola sometime this summer. So we're going to get a chance to see some new Alolan Pokemon, which is pretty cool. They're also going to be adding rainbows to the weather. And we're thinking that whenever a rainbow appears, that's when you're going to be able to catch the Alolan Pokemon. Doctor Strange cosplayer is going above and beyond his cosplaying by creating holograms. Because if you've ever seen Doctor Strange, when he does his magician things, these weird colored letters and stuff like that pop up in front of him, and he does it. That's computer generated, obviously. But to do a cosplay thing, he has these LED slash types of hologram lights, which are signifying the different spells that he's doing. So that's kind of, again, along the lines of the guy who did the Rush 2112 thing. That's kind of impressive that you've created that and discovered how to create something for a cosplay event, for a convention. Liam Neeson joined the Men in Black reboot that is starring Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, who were in Thor Ragnarok together. They're going to be rebooting Men in Black. But new characters, and who knows what they're going to do. If they're going to make it more serious, I don't know. I think they should keep it with the same comedy, sci-fi stuff. And now you got Liam Neeson as the boss. I think that's a good idea. It should be an interesting take on that. Idris Elba, who is also in Thor Ragnarok, is going to be starring and directing a remake of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but kind of an updated retelling of it. Should be interesting to see how that is. As I said, summer is big now. So for the first time ever, my family belongs to a pool. We joined a pool this week, and we got to go today. So that's why my hair might be a little off. So even despite the fact that it's been no air conditioning and hot as Hades, stuff like that, we actually have a pool we can cool off in if we want to, right down the road from us. They also have a nice gym, basketball courts, tennis courts, elevated track, bikes, the stationary bikes, stuff like that, weight rooms that we all have access to. And they have 4 pools. They have the regular pool, family pool for everybody to use. They have an indoor pool so we could go swimming all year round. They have a lap pool if you'd rather do laps, and they have an instructional pool for those who are learning how to swim for the first time. So that's pretty cool on that. Real quick, some stuff about myself, stuff I've been thinking about this week. Boise, Idaho, for whatever reason, has been popping into my head this week. I saw pictures of, I've been interested in reading about Idaho because you don't really hear much about Idaho. So I decided to look up Boise, Idaho on Wikipedia, and I looked at it, and they had some pictures of it, and the pictures were absolutely stunning. It's a city right behind a giant mountain, and the neighborhoods, the suburbs, are at the foot of the foothills of this mountain. And the temperatures are similar to the ones here. They get 4 seasons. The pictures that I've seen of the area are beautiful. The cost of living probably isn't that bad. Plus, it's like an hour away from Oregon, and I like Oregon, so Oregon, whatever you want to call it. So Boise's been on my mind lately. I even went so far as to check on real estate in Boise and jobs, employment in Boise. Not like we're going to move there or anything like that, but just to see if there's anything of interest. There's some neat-looking houses in our price range, but nothing really major. That's the one thing I did notice was the houses I noticed in our price range. Like, here's the house that we were going to look at, and there's like a little alley about that big, and then there's another house like literally right next to it. They're not connected, but it's almost, there's just a little space in between them. That's a little too close for my comfort. But it looks interesting, and I'll keep reading about it. Aurora Borealis is another obsession of mine. It's a bucket list thing. I want to actually see the auroras in person. I wouldn't mind doing like a romantic getaway with my wife to one of those pods up in like Scandinavia or something like that, where it's in the middle of a snowy forest, and it's it's like a hotel room, but it's a pod, and you have everything in there: fireplace, sofa, kitchen, bathrooms, and a big bed, giant bedroom. But the ceiling is clear glass. And when you're sleeping, you can look up, and the auroras would be over your head while you're sleeping, or just lying on bed and you're enjoying it, or having sex underneath the auroras would be great too. But that's a bucket list thing. I'd like to see the auroras in person. I wouldn't mind seeing it in the Scandinavian area, though. I wouldn't mind going to Alaska either to see it. But the best time to see it, obviously, is going to be wintertime when it's dark all the time, whereas you're not really going to see it that much in the summer because it's not 100%, but it's like 24-hour sun up there for the most part. Though I would like to experience 24-hour sun sometime. So sometime I'd like to see 24-hour sun in Alaska or the Scandinavian countries. And then I'd also like to experience the Aurora Borealis, maybe in those pod-like things, so I can have sex on the Aurora Borealis, which would be kind of cool. Anyway. And then Yankee Candle stuff. I've talked about this before. I'm obsessed with Yankee Candle. I don't know why I like going to Yankee Candle. I like smelling all the different candles. I like the names, Mountain Lodge and Mountain Stream, and stuff that gets to my my being, and then also smelling all the different ones and getting some really neat smells and lighting them and smelling them. Also, I'm a candle person, so it's kind of cool. Let's do holidays then. I really don't want to talk politics, but I need to get this off my chest. So let's just do the holidays first. Those who know my solo shows, I always do holiday stuff. I'm not going to go so far back as last week, but I remember last week there was Dylan Day for Dylan Thomas, the poet. So that was kind of cool. I tweeted out Dylan Day, which is interesting. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go here. Excuse me. I'm going to get tired too. All right, check. Day. Oh, they already have tomorrow's stuff out, so let's look at the 26th. So today's holidays were Amateur Radio Military Appreciation Day, International Jazz Day, Julia Pierpont Day, National Blueberry Cheesecake Day, National Cherry Dessert Day, National Paper Airplane Day, Sally Ride Day, World Dracula Day, World Lindy Hop Day, World Redhead Day. Did I actually? Hold on, let me check that. I don't think I released those on my one Twitter account. I don't think I did. So I might have to do that then. Let me see. Profile. Yeah, no, I think I just did a bunch of stuff and I didn't do it. Yeah, so I better do that then. Okay, so let's do that real quick. So that was all the stuff that came out. It was the holidays for today. Go back here. Yeah, I didn't do it. Okay, so I'm just going to retweet these real quick. Give me a second. Julia Pierpont, I don't know who that is. National Blueberry Cheesecake. I like blueberries, which is something odd. I never really thought I liked that much, but I do. And they have blueberry Krispy Kreme glaze now for a while. I might have checked that out as well. World Dracula Day. Nice. World Lindy Hop Day. And World Redhead Day. Yesterday, Friday the 25th, was Don't Fry Day, European Neighbors Day, Geek Pride Day, National Brown Baggett Day, National Death Busters Day, National Heat Awareness Day, National Missing Children's Day, National Tap Dance Day, National Title Track Day, National Wig Out Day, National Wine Day was yesterday, Towel Day was yesterday, the 24th, which is Thursday, was Asparagus Day, Aviation Maintenance Technician Day, Brothers Day, International Tiara Day, National Escargot Day, Scavenger Hunt Day. The 23rd was Declaration of the Bab Day, whatever that is. Mercy Medical Service for Children Day, International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, Lucky Penny Day, National Taffy Day, World Crohn and Colitis Day, World Turtle Day. So there was that. And then, as I said, there was Dylan Day last week sometime, so that was kind of cool. Now, the 27th, which is tomorrow, a sneak preview is Trinity Sunday, which is basically like the end of the Easter season. So starting in June, we're going to get back to normal time in the Catholic Church. Sunscreen Protection Day, Old Time Player Piano Day, Nothing to Fear Day, and Neighbor Day. National Gray Day, National Grape Popsicle Day, Indianapolis 500 Day, and Cellophane Tape Day. It's also basically Saturday, since most of us have Friday off or Monday off also. So tomorrow the weekend really truly begins. There's that. So there's that. So that's it for the holidays. Again, those who know me know I'm liberal in my beliefs and democratic. I just need to get this off my chest. We are now fining people, NFL players and teams, if they don't stand for the national anthem. Now, we had this discussion last year when people were really getting upset about people kneeling during the national anthem because they thought it was disrespecting to America. And I came on here and I went on a bombastic tirade about how you're a bunch of fucking idiots, because it really isn't. They are bringing attention to black people getting killed and arrested for no reason other than them being black. Or, oh my God, he's walking around his house with a cell phone, but it might be a gun, so we better shoot and kill him instead of just tasing him or just asking him a question. They're scared for their lives and doing stuff. People attacking black people for no other reason. And then when white people end up killing all these kids in schools, they don't kill him. They try to capture them alive. They don't jump in there guns blazing like they do, and a black person might be walking around his own yard with a cell phone. I talked about this already, and it's infuriating to me. And now the NFL has finally came up and said, we're going to start finding people who do not stand for the national anthem. If you don't want to stand for the anthem, you just stay in the locker room. The one thing, there's a couple things that I have a problem with here. One, you have no right to tell us what to do. It is our right as an American citizens, as given to us by the Constitution, to protest any way we want to. Now, you guys aren't talking about, other people who are protesting, doing stuff to them for protesting. No, it's just black people because you're all fucking racists. And so protesting is a right given to us by the Constitution. You remember the Constitution, right? That's the law of our government, not this asshole in the White House. The president is not king or dictator. He is a figurehead that we put in its place who has to listen to the Constitution. And he's not, and for that, he should not be president. But to not allow anyone to protest is against First Amendment rights. And I think people should start suing them. I would sue them in a second. It's my right to protest by not standing for the national anthem if I don't want to. If I want to bring attention to the fact that black people who are innocent are getting killed for no reason, and the cops who do it are getting off. It is not disrespecting the flag. There have been veterans, people who fought in wars, actually soldiers, actual members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, that you all claim to covet and love and say, you got to treat our military with respect, who've come out and said, he can do whatever the fuck he wants to. That's a free country. That's why I'm a soldier. I might not like what he's doing, but you know what? It's his right to do it. And it's my job to protect that right to do whatever the hell he wants to do, he or she wants to do. Again, I might not like it, but you know what? It's not to me. Who cares? I'm not protesting it. I might protest something else that they might like. But it's my job to protect this country and make sure you have every right to do that. There are lots of soldiers who have come out and said that. Now, yeah, there's also been soldiers who have been saying you're disrespecting the flag, which they're not. They're not doing it to disrespect the flag. They're doing it to bring attention to the innocent deaths of black people. Also, it doesn't matter. It's the national anthem. If you don't stand up for it, it doesn't make you any less patriotic. And let me ask you this also, something else also. If you're at home and you're watching the football game, baseball game, whatever, and they play the national anthem, are you standing? Fuck no, you're not. You're sitting on your fat couch on your fat ass, drinking beer and eating pretzels and bullshit. And also, there are people who are out at the concession stands getting food during the national anthem. They're not standing at attention. They're not even paying attention. They're not even singing. They don't even have their hand over their heart. They're buying their beer and their hot dogs and shit like that. There are people who are going to the bathroom. They're not going to stand in the bathroom for the national anthem. You don't have to stand for the national anthem. There is no reason for it. We are not a dictatorship where you need to stand to show that you are patriotic. Because I don't stand for the national anthem, I'm not patriotic. Bullshit. Shut the fuck up. All right? This is bullshit, and the NFL caved to the fucking asshole in the fucking White House who doesn't deserve to be there, who should have been kicked out a long time ago, but the GOP are a bunch of dickless, gutless motherfuckers. And I'm sorry I'm getting anxious about this, but this is bullshit, and something needs to be done about this. That's the thing that's pissing me off the most, is that nothing is being done. Every law that he's broken, everything that he's done, which is illegal, there's been no response to it. But if anyone else in the world did it, there would be a fucking response more than anything in the world, and you would be gone faster than anything. And that leads us to another thing. 1,500 kids have disappeared. You are physically taking immigrant children from their parents and separating them and putting them in like basically concentration camps, from the parents in concentration camps and releasing the kids to the wild basically. And all of a sudden, you don't know where 1,500 of these kids are? That's an even bigger problem. And then that asshole gets on Twitter and blames the Democrats for this bullshit, says they need to do something about this situation. No, you the one who created this situation. You need to fucking do something about it. You need to stop this because it is an inhuman disgrace. And the fact that you're deflecting blame is gaslighting and bullshit. And you know what? There's going to be people out there who's like, oh, yeah, fucking Democrats are the reason. Why are they taking poor young kids away who the day before when they thought that it was that asshole doing it, it's like, yeah, stick it to the immigrants. Who gives a fuck about them? This is bullshit. This world, this country is fucked up right now. And it's making me anxious. It's making my family anxious. It's making me feel sick to my stomach. Everything I read about that. And nothing is getting done. Nothing is being done. People are talking and saying stuff, but they're not doing any actions. Yes, the Mueller probe is going on, but that's taking forever. It took 2 years to get Nixon out of the White House due to Watergate. And then what's going to happen? Because everybody in that White House is dirty. Are we just going to go after the one big fish, or are we going to go for all of them? And then also, there's no guarantee that we're going to flip Congress in November. That's what everyone is hoping for, that if we can do that, then this is all going to go away. But they illegally took a election from us 2 years ago. What makes you believe that that's not going to change this time, or that there's going to be enough of these psychopaths who are going to vote for these assholes to keep things the status quo as they are, because they are uneducated and don't know any better because they're fucking stupid. I'm sick of this bullshit. I'm sick of inaction, and there's not much else I can do. If I try to do something, and that's the problem. I don't really have the power to do anything except vote, which I'm going to do. It's up to the people that we elected to go over there and say, whoa, stop, as my boss at work, stop. This is wrong. You need to bring about charges on these guys because they're already breaking the law. They already are not believing in the Constitution, which is the main, when you became sworn in as president, you said you were going to defend the Constitution. The day one, you have not been defending the Constitution. You should have been kicked out on day one. But there is no inaction. There's no one in Congress who has balls to go up against it. The Democrats are trying, but they're a minimum. They're a small group, and they can only do so much. The GOP doesn't give a fuck about you or anything. They care about money and themselves. And they put on a facade of being pro-life, pro-whatever, which is bullshit. They're hypocritical, lying sons of bitches. And something needs to be done. Nothing is being done. And I doubt anything is ever going to get done. Even when the probe is done, even when Mueller probe is done, even when everything, something's going to happen, and nothing's going to happen. I'm sick of this. I don't want to talk about this anymore, but I had to get that off my chest. This is wrong, bad, terrible, awful stuff that's happening that should not be happening. And I don't know what to do about it because I don't really have that much power. You can protest all you want. You can do whatever you want to try to. You can make statements on Facebook. You can sign things. You can protest, march, whatever. But in the end, nothing's happening. Nothing's getting done about it. It's not bringing awareness. The march, like, oh yeah, look, they marched. Yay, we're all in this together. This is how many people were upset about things. And then nothing happens. There are no charges brought on anything. There is nothing is ever going to get done. I believe it's going to be 4 years of hell, and I don't know if I can handle it anymore. I just need to stop looking at the stuff or whatever. I just need to stop. Something needs to be done because this isn't right. And it's not because I'm a libtard or whatever you want to call me. How can you look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and say, it's okay that parents and children are being separated because they are not of this, they're not supposed to be in this country, and they're different than us? Or why is it okay for black people to get shot and killed or assaulted, or fined for protesting, where white people who commit murders are really, nothing's happening to them? Nothing is going to get done. Inaction, nothing's happening, and it's pissing me off. And I keep repeating myself because I need to convince myself that something's going to happen, but nothing is going to happen. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope something happens soon, because I don't know how much longer I can take of this. All right, I'm done for the night. I'm tired, I'm hot, and I just want to get the hell out of here. Thanks for watching. I don't know what's going to happen next week, if I'm going to have Jerry on, MJ on, or I'm going to be solo again. I don't know. Next week, get into June. Take care.